Am I the a-hole for kicking my parents out of my brother's birthday and refusing to give up my siblings? I, 25 male, live in a house of mine with my little siblings, 15 male, 12 female, and 11 male. My parents, 44 male and 43 female, got divorced 3 years ago. My father left to be with his lover. Then a month later, my mom showed up in my house. It is an inheritance. To ask me if I can have the kids for 2 days or 3 until she settled down, because she was moving down to her boyfriend's house as well. It's been 3 years now, and all my siblings get from them is a visit once a week. They pay child support, doesn't help that much, but I haven't taken them to court. Now, 2 weeks ago, my brother turned 15. I hosted a party. My parents helped us to buy the cake and the sodas, and I invited them because, after all, they are still their parents. But I specified on the invitation that I didn't want to see their spouses because I simply don't like them. Anyway, they came with their spouses and stepchildren. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to make a scene. After all, it wasn't my birthday, and if my brother was okay with it, I was too. Everything became a mess at the family photo. I said I wanted a picture of me and my siblings together. My parents couldn't help in making it about them. My mom requested that her stepson should be in the picture too because he is also family. And my dad said that his stepdaughter should be there too. And also his wife because she's carrying a baby. I was shocked because of those random and nonsense comments. So I just couldn't keep it in and told them that they were selfish, irresponsible, narcissistic, terrible parents, and their requests were out of the question since those kids, I have nothing against them, are not our family. It will never be. I also told my dad he should have a vasectomy and not allowed to have more kids. Then I screamed, "And if you think I'll raise this too, you're wrong." My mom started crying, calling me rude. My dad's wife cried too, so I kicked them out. My siblings told them to go, so they both accused me of turning my siblings against them and were trying to take them by force, but they refused. Now, my mom and dad said they'll go to court to have custody back because I'm a bad example of disrespect and irreverence. In my country, the legislation allows my siblings to decide who they want to live with, and they say they'd pick me. My grandma, father's mother, said I should not have restrained my parents' authority over my siblings, and it's not my job to take care of them and that I should give them up to let my parents be responsible again. My father's brother said that I was the a-hole for making my mom and a pregnant woman cry. So am I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Not even close. Deadbeat parents that abandon their kids can GTFO. You do you, young man, and keep those kids safe, just like you've been doing for 3 years. Best of luck to you. Agreed, and I would so take them both to court for proper child support. Not the a-hole. Your mother left her own children to be on their own and forced you to take responsibility. The same with your dad. Your little sibling are old enough to understand how you feel and probably feel like you do, left behind. I don't feel left behind because I can't miss what I never had. They didn't raise me. It was my mom's mom because they were too young and had to finish high school. But my siblings really feel left behind. Wait, so having kids they then abandon is a pattern with these people? Why even have kids? I have no idea why they keep having children, since it's proven they are not the best parents. I'm just sorry for the little child coming. I hope the new baby doesn't run the same luck. Not the a-hole. You should seek legal custody of the minors though, and an actual support order from your courts. OP, you really do need to make this legal. I'm sure it will relieve a lot of anxiety from your siblings too, if they know they can't just be uprooted back to the parents that couldn't be bothered to care for them for the last 3 years. You are their home now. Not the a-hole, and actually a damn great human. Much love to your little family of siblings. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law I'd testify against her if she sought full custody in her ridiculous hypothetical? My female 28 sister-in-law, female 26, likes to play this stupid game where she brings up hypothetical scenarios or asks questions that she knows will make her upset if she doesn't get the specific answer she wants. I've asked her twice to stop involving me in this because I'm not typical, and my responses won't be to her liking. One of these scenarios, and she's serious about it, is that my brother should get an apartment where we currently live, so he can continue to work and provide for her and their kids, while she moves to a completely different state to live with her family. She's brought this scenario up with me at least 3 times and other family members even more. My brother is obviously against it. She doesn't want to divorce. She just wants this living arrangement. I asked who would have the kids, and she said she would expect to have them full-time because they are her kids. That he can come and fly and visit on his days off whenever he can squeeze it in. He is in a demanding field. This means maybe once a month, if that. I said that was messed up, and that nobody should interfere with the parents' access to their children unless the parent is truly dangerous and bad for the kid. She said she didn't see a problem with it. I told her that even though I love her, I'd encourage him to petition the court to at least get 50-50 custody. She lost it saying nobody will take her kids from her, that they belong to her. This is where I got pissed/snapped. She said, I wish he would take me to court. I have some dirt on him and I'd be happy to air everything out. Before this, it was just a stupid hypothetical, but this threat made me upset. And I told her I'd 100% be a character witness against her having them 100% of the time, especially given the way she talks about her dad, who she wants to live with, being mentally abusive, and that she refuses to seek therapy even though she admits she has problems that manifest in some very unhealthy behaviors/choices. That my brother deserves to be in his kids' lives 50% of the time if she wants to unnecessarily tear apart her family, and she could have them the other 50%. She told me to mind my business and not get involved. That is between her and my brother, and I have no right to insert myself in custody issues. After that, I was over it. Anytime she tried to prolong the fight with me, screaming at me, I just kept repeating, don't ask for my opinion on things if you don't want to hear the answer, as I packed my things and left. So, am I the a-hole for saying I testify against her in this ridiculous hypothetical she brings up all the time? After sitting on it for a bit, I feel somewhat bad for openly saying it, and angry at myself for feeding into her game that I constantly try to avoid playing. Even more so for getting visibly angry at a frigging hypothetical. But the truth is, if my brother tried to do that to her, I'd tell him the same thing. Now for the top comments. Not a-hole. Jesus. I recommend telling your brother about this. She's crazy. He called me immediately after to ask what happened. I told him, but he knows she's brought this up to other people. He's aware she likes to rage bait with hypotheticals and questions she knows she won't like, and he just ignores it. He's very stoic, not philosophical version, and so he can look past it without an emotional response. To him, it's not real. And if it becomes real, he will take methodical steps to ensure his needs are met. This happened like 2 days ago, and I just had been ruminating on it. But the same day, one of the first things she said to me was, if we didn't have kids, do you think your brother would still be with me? I just told her to stop, and I'm not playing this game. I told her these questions highlight an extreme sense of insecurity, and that she needs to seek help to understand why she feels this way and work to resolve it. I can't count how many times I've told her she needs therapy. She has a tremendous amount of positives, but her unwillingness to seek help blocks her full potential. Then again, I'm constantly telling everyone they need therapy. I myself have a lot of trauma and mental health issues, which is why I have gone through extensive therapy and continue to seek it out. I also take medication. I am disappointed in myself because I completely backtracked in my emotional regulation during this discussion. Not a-hole. I don't think it's hypothetical anymore. The first time she brought it up, maybe, but not now. Your brother should prepare for this to possibly happen. Does she take the kids go and visit her parents without him? She may go and not come back. I think that's why I got upset. The first time I heard it was when I was staying with my mom a couple of years ago, and she brought it up to me upset that she said it. I told her how I would have handled it. The first time she brought it up to me was unprompted, and she was talking to me as if my response would obviously be, "That's a great idea." I don't know why my brother wouldn't agree to it. This all started because I was talking about how I want to live separately from, but close to, any future partner I have for an extensive number of reasons. I listed the positives and mentioned how some of my friends who live with their partners started considering the pros of doing so with their own partners, but would never push this arrangement now because it is not their original agreement with their partner. She agreed and then brought up the scenario again. I told her it was completely different because 1, it's in separate states, and 2, there are children involved. No, she does not take the kids to go visit them without my brother, or without discussion presently. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to take my half-brother on a trip and refusing to share the start and end date? My sister Pam, 29 female, and I, 22 female, are from our dad's first marriage. I live currently with Pam in another city while my dad, stepmom, and half-siblings stayed in our family home. Pam and I love to vacation, and I work extra jobs to save up so we can travel together. I want to mention I really do love my half-brother, 18 male, but I'm way closer with Pam. She is the closest person I have, and she has been a great big sister, taking care of me. My half-brother Jake has this sneaky thing he does. He'd hit me up and ask me to buy him something from the city we live in. The first time it was a video game that really could only be bought in the city I live in because there was an early release there or something. It was $100, and after sending it, he let me know he was short on cash and will repay me later on. I asked him 2 months later and he just laughed awkwardly. I decided to let it go. He did it a few more times, pressuring me to buy stuff and send them over and never paid. On to the issue. Jake called me and asked if he could join Pam and I on our trip. I said sure, but our parents should buy him the ticket and pay for the hotel stay. Jake told me I can pay for it and he will pay me back. I told him I won't because that's over $600, and that's literally all I have left. He got annoyed and told me he'd pay. I said great, then do it and you can join. He got mad and said I was a bad sister for not paying now, as tickets or hotel availability might be gone in the next days, and I could clearly ask Pam to chip in. He said I'd do it for Pam, so I should do it for him. I felt bad, but refused again. He called me an a-hole and hung up. My stepmom and dad called and urged me to just book the hotel, which can be paid in full later, but I refused again. I said Jake should pay whatever Jake needs to pay. Pam backs me up, but my stepmom is upset and said I don't see Jake as a real sibling. Jake called me today and asked for the dates of the trip, and I said I no longer wanted him to come along since he was creating problems already before we leave. He pushed for the exact dates and time, and I again refused to give them. My stepmom has been blowing up my phone, and I have conveniently put it on silent. I feel like I went overboard. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. And you can tell your stepmother that if your full sibling had a habit of asking you to buy things for her, telling you should pay you back and then not doing it, you wouldn't be eager to keep buying things for her either. It's not that Jake is a half-sibling, it's that Jake is a mooch. Exactly. Use the whole you don't see him as a real sibling as just an excuse. If it meant so much to stepmom and dad, they should have fronted the money. That's their kid. It's easier to tell OP and then talk crap when she said no. Truth be told, good on OP for standing up for herself. Not stay home, but have a simple conversation with stepmom and dad on the same call. Say you are sorry for the way this has blown up, but you were hurt that they are accusing you of not loving Jake. Explain how Jake has been taking advantage of you with the purchases. Exact amounts would be great. I've bought 4 things to the tune of $280 he still has yet to pay me for. And remind them you support yourself. Work extra jobs to be able to do that. And he created your lack of trust of being paid back. You don't appreciate being made out to be the bad guy when all you are doing is being practical and financially responsible as they taught you. If they want him to go, and they'd like you to pay up front and let him owe them the money, you might reconsider. But being blamed and badgered for his actions, and for him not learning the same financial responsibilities, is not helping. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not taking my niece and nephew with me on a trip to Colorado and refusing to change my plans to be able to bring them? I grew up in Colorado and we moved to boring Ohio before I could finish climbing all of the 14,000 feet peaks, and try to make it back every year or a few times a summer so I can knock the rest off my list. I have 9 left. Ellingwood, Blanca, Little Bear, Sunlight, Aeolus, Windham, Red Cloud / Sunshine, and my planned finisher, San Luis. The first 6 of these listed peaks are difficult climbs. The first 3 require a long backpacking trip in, and the second 2 do as well, and a train that may or may not run. Little Bear is considered one of the most difficult and dangerous, requiring ropes and helmets for most climbers. My brother heard that I'm planning a trip to Colorado and he wants me to take his kids with me. I said no flat out. I explained which mountains I planned, and he should have gotten the hint. But he told me that I should just switch the order I do them in and bring the kids with me in San Luis. I've planned a moonlight hike for San Luis forever. I want it to be just me in the sky. My brother has been saying that I don't spend enough time with the kids, that I make plans without considering anyone else's feelings or wants, and that I am stuck in adolescence and refuse to root in reality. The issue, I guess, is that he can't give the kids a full vacation this year because he's stuck at work, as is his wife. They don't have another option and are begging me to take the kids. Here's the thing. I'm a 26-year-old guy. I love my niece and nephew, but I have no interest whatsoever in changing my plans to bring kids with me on a trip. I plan to hike, drink beer at all the near breweries, go to some baseball games with friends I haven't seen in years, probably hook up with fit people because the options in Ohio are depressing AF, etc. I don't want to cut those plans to do a bunch of kid-friendly stuff. They expect me to just give up my trip and take the kids on the hiking equivalent of the bunny slopes. And I'm getting so much grief from all of my family about it, including my mom who said she agrees with my brother and that it's time to settle down. He also complained that the kids complain that they don't see me enough, which is crazy because I'm over at their house every few weeks. I haven't told anyone yet, but while I'm back in Colorado, I'm going to look for a place to live comfortably. I don't want to live in boring Cincinnati, Ohio for the rest of my life. This is a different issue, I guess. Anyway, am I the a-hole for not taking my niece and nephew out to Colorado with me because their parents can't do it? Not the a-hole. I like how settling down apparently means take care of someone else's responsibilities. I'm sure your niece and nephew say they wish they saw you more often. You are probably more fun than their own parents. That doesn't mean you have to take them on vacation or do anything else their parents are responsible for. Go live your life. Sounds to me like brother is jealous of the child-free / burden-free life OP is enjoying. That I make plans without considering anyone else's feelings or wants, and that I am stuck in adolescence and refuse to root in reality. In other words, stop doing fun things by yourself, because if I can't, then nobody should be able to. Not stay home, obviously. Go enjoy life. Not stay home. And why on earth would you take anyone's kids mountain climbing with you? You don't say how old the kids are, but based on your age, I'm going to assume they are far too young to go mountain climbing. Also, what kind of unreasonable a-hole expects a 26-year-old uncle to take a couple of little kids for a couple of weeks, out of state anyway? This is ridiculous. Go climb things and have fun. They're 13 and 16, so definitely not too young, but neither of them are even in physical condition to do this.
Am I the a-hole for making Christmas awkward when I said I didn't care if my mom ended up divorced? My dad died when my mom was pregnant with me, 15 male. My brother was 6 when dad died and always talked about him and told me stories about him. He was really affected by dad's death and kept him alive for me in a way. I can't describe it, but some of my favorite memories are of my brother telling me bedtime stories that were just stories about dad, instead of stories from books or made-up stuff. He only had 5 he knew from living them, but they were the best. He also told me stories he got from my dad's family too, just way less frequently since they weren't his lived stories. The stuff made me feel like I still had a dad, even though I didn't have one with me. When I was 6, Mom met my stepdad and married him after 5 months of dating. He wanted a really fast family and wanted to adopt me and my brother. But my brother hated him for expecting it. They had a fight when it was mentioned because our stepdad said he'd be the man of the house and our family. So it only made sense. My brother told him he was a stranger. We only knew him for 3 months when this was happening, so my brother wasn't wrong. It offended our stepdad though. I wasn't okay with it either, and that ticked him off more. He brought it up a bunch of times the first year, and then like 5 times a year after that. My brother told him he'd rather be dead than let him be his dad. I said no, but I tried to not be a jerk about it. I didn't want it and got kind of annoyed by being asked so much. I said that too, but I was told it was something he'd keep asking because he felt he deserved it. My mom wanted him to have what he wanted, and they didn't think it was fair for me to say no when I didn't ever know my dad or have a relationship with him. My mom gave my brother a really hard time for being the cause of it, and my stepdad told me I should want a dad at my age. He said that at a lot of different ages. Yesterday, things got awkward and it's made today awkward too. We're not even that far into today. But my mom and stepdad sat me down, and he told me again he wanted to adopt me. Before I could say no again, he told me he's tired of not having kids of his own. He can't have any, and he wants someone to pass on his family name. He wants that to be me since he raised me as his own. He said he's tired of being dismissed as a dad, and if I don't accept him, then he's done. And he'll either divorce mom or he'll ignore me and my brother forever. My mom told me I need to help her not get divorced and ask if I wanted that for her. I said I don't care. I don't want to be adopted, and I'm not giving in because of their marriage. They didn't like my answer, and now my mom's family's frustrated that I made things so awkward because we're all together and it's bad. I'll probably hide out in my bedroom for the rest of the day because it's intense downstairs. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. It's disgusting that they're putting the fate of their marriage on your shoulders. I'd reach out to your brother or another adult to see if there is a way you can leave. My brother knows about it all, but he can't take me. My mom would fight it, and she would win because my brother is my brother and not my second parent. He looked into whether I could live with him a year ago, and he was told even if I wanted it, we wouldn't have a chance when I have a living parent. Not the a-hole. You are absolutely not responsible for your mother's marriage. The foundations of their marriage have absolutely nothing to do with whether they adopt you or not. She seems to be manipulative. 100% this. And Opie did not make Christmas awkward. His mom and her husband ruined Christmas with their emotional blackmail. They're massive a-holes, and so are the relatives trying to blame Opie. The relatives from mom's side of the family only care about the mom. It's frustrating how family often jumps to blame the kid instead of holding the adults accountable. Opie deserves support, not guilt for their choices. This is a huge burden for such a young person. You'd be surprised to know adults who own up to accountability has drastically dropped over the years. And something tells me this free fall wouldn't get any better anytime soon. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling my soon-to-be ex-husband a freaking psycho for putting the news of our divorce in the kids' presence? My soon-to-be ex-husband and I have been married for a long time, but we're going to get divorced soon. We've had our fair share of fights here and there, which is normal for any couple, but he is the type of man who complains a lot, makes a ton of demands, and rarely acknowledges me or includes me in big decisions. Things had already been bad between us, but it got worse when he received his diagnosis. He's suffering from a medical condition. While I sympathize with his condition, I knew this was going to be the end of our marriage. I knew I could not handle this version of him with his condition at all. So I was very honest with him and told him that I wanted a divorce. He was open to it, yet resentful towards me, but he had been for a while now, so yeah. We agreed to tell the kids after Christmas and just be together as a family and enjoy the holidays. Well, he wanted to be petty and get back at me, but I didn't think it'd go to such lengths. In the morning, when our kids, they're 13 and 15 by the way, opened their Christmas presents, they were shocked to find out their dad and I are getting divorced. Their dad printed this on paper and put the papers in their gift boxes. It was horrible. Especially the way he worded it. Merry Christmas. Your mom is divorcing me. The house turned into a crying mess. He wasn't even there. He went to get coffee or something. He knew what was going to happen. Thus, he left the house in the morning. I didn't know what to do. I tried my best to get them to calm down and they called my mom. He came back and I absolutely blew up at him and called him a freaking psycho for doing this to the kids. On Christmas, no less. He defended himself, saying I was no better for deciding to end our marriage right after his diagnosis. I told him it was more because of his awful character than anything else, but he has tainted my image to the kids, as they now think I'm leaving him because of his condition and refuse to speak to me. It got out and in-laws got involved. He told everyone I called him a psycho and yelled at him for telling the kids the truth. They all came at me, especially his mother who hated me all those years for no apparent reason. She called me a bee and said that if my relationship with the kids is ruined, then it would be because of my own doing, and I have no one to blame but myself for being such an awful wife and mother. It escalated. He's moving out, and the kids are with my mom. I'm feeling utterly devastated right now, but started to think that my outburst was unnecessary. And calling him a psycho and causing a scene instead of de-escalating the situation might have been wrong. Remember, your relationship with your children is a marathon, not a sprint. One day they will look back on this and think their dad is a psycho. They will have lots of other examples of him being a nut job by then. Remember the Christmas dad traumatized us while sipping wine together in their 30s over a Christmas dinner? Always be the bigger person. Always rise above and put your kids first. Trust that your soon-to-be ex cannot hide his rotten core forever. Honestly, this should be documented as an attempt at parental alienation when the conversation turns to custody. I love this advice. When your kids are older, they'll see everything for what it is. You can't control what their dad does, but you can control how you respond. Keep being the bigger person even when it's hard. They will remember who was there for them. Don't wait for them to be older. Explain why you're leaving. They're both old enough to understand. What he did was petty and wrong, but you're certainly being incredibly vague about the important details. We only have your side of the story when it comes to why you're getting divorced, and you admit that his medical condition is a major reason you're choosing to divorce him now, so I'm not sure you're much better. Until you provide more details about the cause of the divorce or his medical condition, I'm saying everyone sucks here. My relationship with him has been bad already, and now I just don't think things will get better after his diagnosis. In fact, I'm 110% certain they'll get worse. I'm sure he'll just get more needy and controlling, and I don't think I can take it. Next story. My wife is sad because I got my sister a much more romantic Christmas gift than I got her. Am I the a-hole? Last night, my family hosted a gift party. We invited siblings, parents, and grandparents. The party was going great, and everyone was genuinely happy when they opened their gifts. My wife had a Christmas list, and I got my wife all the items from the Christmas list. My sister opened her gift last, and after looking at the gift for a minute, she broke down in tears and hugged me. For context, when my sister's first boyfriend broke up with her back in high school, it really hurt her. I still remember how she was when she came home from school that afternoon. She was just a mess. She was also going through a lot of other issues. That night, I drove her to a park near where we lived, and we just sat on the grass and looked at the stars. It was really emotional, and my sister still talks about that night occasionally. So, for my sister's Christmas gift this year, I got her a canvas of a customized star map of what the stars in the sky looked like that night. I also wrote a personalized note on that canvas. Everyone wanted to have a look, and they thought it was a really sweet gift. Well, everyone except my wife. Later that night, my wife told me how hurt she was feeling that I chose that romantic gift for my sister and not for her. I told my wife there was nothing romantic about that gift, and besides, that gift didn't even cost that much. My wife's Christmas gift list cost a lot, and I was happy to get my wife every item on the list. I just didn't understand why my wife was feeling sad. I told my wife if she wants the star map, I can get her one too, of what the stars looks like in the sky the night I proposed to her. But my wife told me it isn't the same, and to leave it. This morning, my wife still looks somewhat sad. Am I the a-hole? I don't understand where I went wrong. I thought we had a perfect Christmas. Now for the comments. I feel like there's a lot more context needed here. Do you normally give other people really thoughtful, heartfelt gifts, while just checking off items on your wife's list? Or do you try to give her thoughtful gifts too? She's not mad about the gift. She's mad about the thought that went into it, and how she doesn't feel like you gave her that amount of emotional effort. Meanwhile, you're acting like spending money on her is the equivalent of emotional effort. To most people, they are not the same thing. Then when she says she's upset, you acted like the gift itself, the star map, was the issue. And again, put no emotional effort into the response you gave. You said you would just copy-paste the same gift you gave your sister. She didn't want the map. She wants the effort and the care. I would bet this goes a lot deeper than just this one Christmas. How often do you put effort into other relationships while acting like your relationship with the person you chose to marry is on the back burner? One of the last nails in my marital coffin was a Christmas where I had gotten my then husband a few small gifts. We had many troubles then, so I couldn't get a lot that were meaningful to him, his family, and their heritage. He got me nothing. I told myself that was okay because of finances. And then he showed me a thoughtful gift he had gotten one of his managers. I froze. It wasn't a romantic gift at all. Personally, I think it was to get on his co-worker's good side. I don't think it worked. But I remember standing in my living room and just being still as he told me how much time it took picking out this gift. Here I was, his wife and mother of his children, and he couldn't even take the time to get me a candle or scented hand lotion. The saying, "it's the thought that counts," is very true for many of us. I'm wondering if Opie's wife gives him a list of things, because if she didn't, he'd tell her he had no idea what to get her. Or maybe she's a materialistic bee, but I sense there's something deeper for Opie's wife. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my mom the only gift she wanted for Christmas? A little backstory. My sister has resented my existence pretty much since I was born. When I got pregnant with my oldest daughter, my sister became very controlling. She would demand to be at every OB appointment and tried to demand we let her in the delivery room when only one person was allowed in beside me. Every first for my oldest had to involve my sister because she's never had a kid before. This is my first kid too, you know? My sister became obsessed with my oldest, to the point I believe she was borderline grooming her to believe that she was the mom and not me. My family and I relocated a couple of months ago halfway across the country. This decision came because my sister threatened to call CPS on me for not allowing her to take my oldest over the entire summer break. She told me she'd have me lose custody of both kids. The reason I wouldn't let her take my oldest for the summer was because she had literally just threatened to bring her pistol to my mom's house and put a bullet in my fiancé's head. We moved a few months back to get away from that toxicity. I figured this was the best option for us and decided to still keep somewhat of a relationship with my sister. We would video chat almost daily. On my oldest 5th birthday, my sister made a call to CPS. She claimed my fiancé and I were sexually abusing my 5-year-old and we were physically neglecting both children. She sent in a photo of my 2-year-old with chocolate ice cream on her face because she'd literally just finished the ice cream. My sister saw her eating it, so she knew it was fresh, yet still took a screenshot and used that as evidence that I'm neglecting my kids because they're always dirty. The sexual abuse claim came because my 5-year-old had a diaper rash and it was bothering her. So she said, "My butt hurts. My daughter is autistic and has epilepsy. We're working on potty training still." I know it was my sister who reported us because she bragged about it. And I know for sure this report was her being mad that we moved away. She wanted to get back at me for taking her kids away from her. I decided it was best to go fully no contact with my sister. She tried to hurt my kids, and she hurt me and my fiancé pretty badly. To me, what she did was unforgivable. Today, with it being Christmas, I called my mom on Messenger so the kids could show her what they got and tell her Merry Christmas. The conversation went pretty well until the end when she went into another room and asked me if I could do her a favor. I said, "Sure, what's up?" And she goes, "Have the kids talk to your sister. It's Christmas." I told her no, I will not have that. She tried to hurt my kids, and I don't want them around someone who would do that. My mom started crying and going on about how it's Christmas and it'd just be for a couple of minutes. Then we can go back to no contact. I told her that it was my daughter's birthday when she decided to try and ruin her life. My mom started crying and said she wanted to get off the phone, so we hung up. The last time my kids saw my sister since going no contact, they kept asking for 2 weeks about talking to her. This wouldn't be a one-time thing. This would be them begging and crying to see my sister, and them not understanding why they can't. Was I being an a-hole here? This was the only thing my mom asked for Christmas this year. Not the a-hole for protecting your kids from harmful behavior. Not the a-hole. You're protecting your children from someone who has proven to be harmful and dangerous, and that takes priority over anything, even family requests. Your sister's actions, including the CPS report and threat, have had a serious impact on your family, and it's understandable that you would refuse to expose your kids to her. While your mom's feelings are valid, her request puts your children at risk emotionally, and you are right to set boundaries. You made a difficult decision to protect your children, and that is never something to apologize for. She threatened to shoot your fiancé. She called CPS on your daughter's birthday. She has threatened to take your child. At this point, a restraining order is the bare minimum. She's dangerous. She could kidnap your daughter and unalive your fiancé in the process. Your reaction is weak. Tell your mom that if she ever pushes for your sister again, then you will need to reevaluate if she should be allowed near them too, considering she gives zero care about her safety. Not the a-hole. Your sister is mentally unstable, and your mom is enabling her. Your mom is the biggest a-hole in this. She should be getting your sister help instead of endangering your kids. I've strongly considered a restraining order and was about to go to the court to get one. When I read that to do that, I have to provide my address. I felt it would end up being safer to move as soon as we could and not give anyone our address and only use a P.O. box if needed. If I didn't have to provide my address to get a restraining order, I'd 100% do that. This is an update to the story posted a few days back about the sister who was a proud mistress and home wrecker. Let's read the update. I am not going to tell my sister to get rid of the baby. That's not my place, and I would never suggest such a thing. Also, I am not going to install tracking software on her phone or demand access to all her devices. That's invasive and wrong. I've been thinking a lot, and while I can't say that I don't love my sister, it's very hard to feel that love right now. I don't know who she is anymore. It's not just that she lied to me, it's what she did, and how convinced she is that she was justified because they were in love. She's brought chaos into my home that I opened up to her. I'm deeply disappointed in her, and I just don't like her at the moment. I'm letting her stay with me because I don't want her to become dependent on him. I don't think he's a good man either, and as a social worker, I've seen these scenarios too many times. My sister is already deluded. I don't need to open the door to a dependency that's also financial. Now on to the update. I haven't been punishing my sister, but I've been treating her like a roommate. This is driving her crazy. She's begging me to go back to how things were before, but I can't. I told her that I need time, and that things can't just return to normal overnight. She tried to explain how it all happened. She admitted that she always knew he was married, but believed she could tell how unhappy he was and felt he deserved to be happy. They met at a bar a few weeks after his son's accident. He told her that his wife hadn't touched him since it happened and that he was about to explode. I asked her why she would involve herself with a married man, knowing the hurt it would cause. She said she wanted to be a wife and a good mom, and that included his kids. She had hoped he would divorce his wife so they could all move on and finally be happy together. I just stared at her, unable to comprehend how she could rationalize her actions. A few days later, he appeared at our house, claiming he had left his wife and wanted to be with my sister. I told him to leave immediately or I would call the police. My sister was furious with me, accusing me of ruining her chance at happiness. I made it clear to her, if it comes over again, I will evict her. She's free to date anyone she wants, but not under my roof. I also told her that if she plans to have him around after the baby is born, she'll need to find her own place. Word has gotten around our community about the affair. While we were grocery shopping, a woman even spat on my sister. Many of her friends have cut ties with her, calling her a homewrecker. Some are married themselves and don't want her near their husbands. I haven't said I told you so even once. We unexpectedly ran into his wife at a local cafe. My sister wanted to apologize and suggested that maybe they could all have a good relationship for the sake of the kids. The wife laughed coldly and said, "You made your choices. Now live with them. Don't expect me to make this easier for you." My sister is devastated and has been lying in bed ever since. I'm taking care of her physical needs, making sure she eats, stays hydrated, and attends her prenatal appointments. But I can't bring myself to comfort her emotionally. I just don't have it in me right now. Now for the top comments. Why wouldn't he just call or text her and tell her to meet him? Makes absolutely no sense. I honestly think his wife threw him out, and he was scoping out if he could stay with her. But that's just my theory. They met at a bar a few weeks after his son's accident. He told her that his wife hadn't touched him since it happened and that he was about to explode. Wow, what a catch. Any parent will know the trauma of having to go without sex after one of your kids has been seriously injured. Imagine getting successfully rizzed up by "I'm about to explode." LMAO. You're not the a-hole for feeling hurt and setting boundaries. Your sister made her choices, and now she has to face the consequences. Exactly. She made her choices, and OP don't owe her emotional support right now. And the choice she made has destroyed lives. She deserves what she faces, as does that trash husband. To be honest, OP is better than I would be, letting a cheater with no remorse stay with her. But maybe it will help the sister stay away from that trash husband. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister I won't be her surrogate? I, 30 female, have an identical twin sister. We'll call her Stacy for the sake of the story. Our mother unfortunately passed in child labor and we were raised by our father. Stacy has been married to Jeff for 8 years. I have been in a relationship with Mike for 3 years now. One thing I've always known about my sister is that she wanted to be a mom. Even when we were children, she was always thinking about wedding ideas, nursery themes, baby names, etc. I was always more focused on books and having fun. I am now a flight attendant. I am also attempting to become a published author. My sister has not worked ever honestly. When we graduated high school, we went straight to college. She met his boyfriend in college and once she graduated, became a stay-at-home girlfriend until she became his wife. I have known for a while that my sister has been attempting to become pregnant, unsuccessfully. She has experienced a single miscarriage and has been unable to become pregnant again after thousands and thousands of dollars being spent on IVF, and pretty much anything they could do because she wanted to experience pregnancy. After 5 years of no success, they have started to discuss other options. My sister isn't interested in adoption and is very adamant in having a child that has both their DNA. Her words, not mine. About 3 weeks ago, she came to my house and we were hanging out as we usually do, just chatting and watching Modern Family. She told me she had a serious question and needed to ask me while she still had her nerves. It scared me, but she asked if I could be her surrogate. I was frozen for a second and asked what she meant. She told me that I know what a surrogate was. She needed me to be her surrogate. I expressed that she knew that I wasn't interested in having children. This could definitely be due to how we came into the world, but I'll be honest and say I have never found the thought of having children appealing in any way. I told her that I would have zero issue with donating my eggs to her, however many she needed. She could have them all, but I could not carry her child. Upon hearing that, she became so angry. Her face was so red, and she was just yelling about how it's obvious how jealous and hateful I am because this is a small task. I didn't want to bring it to her attention that she has always spoke about having more than 4 kids. Would the expectation be for me to do this every time? I don't know. I'm starting to feel so bad. She ended up telling me that if I couldn't do this one thing for her, how could I ever call myself her sister? She broke a picture of us I have sitting on my mantle and stormed out. Since then, she's only texted me pictures of her diaries from when we were kids and all of their vision boards saying that I am stopping her from creating a family for no reason and to think about the bigger picture. My boyfriend refuses to give me advice saying that it's my sister and he doesn't feel comfortable attempting to sway me in either direction because it's such a touchy subject. Honestly, this is the longest I've ever gone without communicating with my sister, and I am seriously on the verge of giving in. Most doctors would refuse to allow you to be a surrogate as you've not previously had children. She'll be hard-pressed to find one that would. Not to mention, she's asking her sister to sacrifice her body and potentially her life to fulfill her dream. That's not fair at all. If she can afford IVF, she can afford a surrogate, not the a-hole. I'd also add that her losing her temper in this way screams she's not stable enough to enter this sort of relationship with, not the a-hole. I'm a dude, so can only compare it to donating a kidney. I might donate a kidney to one of my siblings, but if they demand it, disown me. Break pictures if I don't jump at the chance. That's no longer abuse. That's insanity. Sorry, her sister is insane. Or she's worried her husband will leave her or make her go to work. She's a stay-at-home mother who can't have children. She's thinking, how dare sis refuse the obvious solution to my problems? I do think her husband is applying a lot of pressure. When she made the same DNA comment during a football game, her husband gave me this look. I don't know how to even properly explain it, but it was like he was expecting me to offer. Ew. Edit. I am reading all the comments and I want to say thank you so much. I feel so much better knowing I'm not the villain, but I would be lying if I said I am not leaning towards just doing it. This disconnect with my sister brings me immense discomfort in ways I cannot verbally express, but I see two frequent questions I want to answer to hopefully get different answers. 1. Money. My mother did not die of natural causes. It was provider error. My father sued a hospital, and my sister and I have sizable trusts with that money. So money is not an issue to either of us, and her husband is financially well off as well. So not working for 9 months or paying for the egg retrieval process, etc. isn't an issue in any way. It's more so her stubbornness for the baby to share our DNA and for one of us to be carrying it. 2. Since we're identical, if she can't have a baby, how can I? Her lack of being able to have a child is due to a car accident we were in, which is also the source of the miscarriage she experienced. Due to her being in the front seat with our father, they took the brunt of the crash, unfortunately. Her body is now unable to carry a child, and she has had extreme complications with egg retrieval. I'm not sure about the details of how that has gone wrong, just that it is not working and not an option. It is hard to get her to discuss non-viable options so I can gain a better understanding. 3. Doctors will not allow me to be a surrogate due to me not having a child. Thank you so much for this information. We have family dinner this upcoming Thursday because we always watch football with our dads and significant others. I'm sure this topic will come up if she decides to attend. I'm hoping I can bring this up to her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for agreeing to divorce my wife when she joked about it? Yesterday, me and my wife were just chilling and watching TV. My wife all of a sudden said that she wants a divorce and started laughing hysterically. She was quite drunk. She drinks, I do not. I was shocked when she suddenly asked me for divorce. I have been with her for the past 6 years. All this time was spent together, she never ever asked me something so absurd. I got angry and said, sure, divorce that way, send me papers but make it fair. She stopped laughing and got sad. I am used to her sarcastic questions about it. I would do something like this or that for her, or absurdity like I would jump off the hill for her, etc., but I never saw this coming my way. But she this time got sad and angry, and became serious and asked me, am I for real? I said, sure I am. You want to leave me? Then leave. I can't stop you, or do you want me to physically stop you? She got very angry and started crying, and said that I wouldn't even fight even a little to save our marriage, and just agree to divorce without reacting. She asked me, have I stopped loving her? I told her I love her, but if you want to leave me, I won't stop you or beg you. My wife got very angry and slapped my chest and said, bad husband. I tried to stop her and ask her to talk to me, but she didn't listen to me. She's been ignoring me since yesterday. Today I went to talk to her and she said that I need to become a better man and husband and fight for my wife, instead of just agreeing to divorce like a heartless pig. And until I work on myself, she will not talk to me and she's been ignoring me. She gave me food, sat next to me, but whenever I try to talk to her, she doesn't reply. I was thinking of apologizing, but I also thought I don't need to apologize because I didn't do anything wrong. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. You need to be a better wife and not make a joke out of ending our marriage. Yes, she's the one who needs to work on herself. If you say stuff like that when you drink, maybe you don't need to drink. Not the a-hole. Your wife's joke crossed a line, and it's unfair for her to expect you to beg and plead for her to stay after a cruel and drunk comment. Marriage takes mutual effort and respect, and it seems like your wife needs to work on those things, instead of expecting you to constantly prove your love for her. Stand your ground and have a serious conversation about boundaries and communication in your relationship. Plus, let's be real. Who jokes about divorce while drunk? That's not funny or acceptable. It's valid that OP felt hurt and taken aback by her request for a divorce, especially considering their long history together. Not the a-hole. Exactly. He has every right to feel his way. She asked a hurtful question, and then didn't like the answer she received. OP, she needs to grow the heck up. If she cannot control her drinking or her mouth, then perhaps y'all really are not compatible. You did nothing wrong. She literally fooled around and found out. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Not a-hole. Although she sounds horrible and manipulative, you should actually consider divorcing her for real. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom why none of her 5 boys have given her grandkids? I'm the youngest of 5 boys. When I was 13, my mom and biological dad split. My oldest brother went to stay with my aunt. The rest of us went to stay with my grandma while our parents tried to find happiness. Dad completely fell off the face of the earth after about 4-ish years. I think he talks to my oldest brother every so often. My mom got her own place a few miles away from my grandma. She visited often and even spent the night every now and then. So the twins only stayed for like a year, then went and joined the Navy. The brother between the twins and I stayed for 2 years, then met a girl, went to college, and they got married. Then there was me. 13 to 18, I lived with my grandma and was almost completely alone for 2 years out in the middle of nowhere. I love my grandma, but there was only so much an 80-year-old woman and a teenage boy could talk about. I felt abandoned. Fast forward, I finished high school and went to college. Did a whole shebang. We're all adults now doing our thing. Well, my mom is always like, why won't any of you give me grandchildren? First of all, I'm gay, but she even asks me if I'll find a nice man, settle down and adopt. But my other brothers are straight. None of them have or want kids. So the conversation got intense and she was being very dramatic. So I said it. I said what was on everyone's mind. Mom, I think none of us want kids because of how you and Dad left us with Grandma, because you both deserve to be happy. I'm glad you found your happiness, but I would never do such a thing to a child, especially if I had the means to take care of them. It scares me that I could possibly wake up one day and think differently. That I could wake up, tell my kids to pack their things. I'm taking you to Grandma's where you're going to live from now on, even though your father and I are perfectly capable of taking care of you. She cried. A lot. But I couldn't take the "where are my grandkids" conversation anymore. I could not listen to her bring that up one more time. I did feel terrible and we haven't talked in like 2 weeks. I'm not sure what to think. Not the a-hole. The truth hurts most when we know we're wrong. There has to be a part of your mom who knows what she did was wrong, and I wouldn't be shocked if she saw grandchildren as her chance at a do-over. I wasn't there for my kids, but I can make up for it by being there for my grandkids, hence her pestering. Instead, she's now being told that her choices have consequences, and she won't get her do-over because of what she did. She didn't want to parent, so now she won't get to grandparent. I'd cry too if I'd been such a poor parent, be it due to negligence, abuse, or, as in your mom's case, my absence and refusal to be a parent caused my kids to be scared to or put off of having children of their own because they're worried that they would repeat my mistakes. There is no delicate way to put that, because a truth like that will always hurt. Who wants to be confronted with the harm they've caused and the damage they've done? You are not wrong for telling her, not least because the only way to stop her pestering and questioning is to tell her why, and you put it as diplomatically as possible. The grandkids were gonna be her do-over. Listen, I had a similar issue. My parents raised me and my brother in brutal abject poverty, and also neglected both of us in brutal fashion. I always wondered why she ever bothered to have kids. She said we were both planned. In any case, I vowed I would never bring children into our extremely dysfunctional family setting. My brother and father died of an overdose on the same day. In 2019, before my mother passed away from COVID, I had to tell her the family name was dying with me because I had a vasectomy and would never procreate. She was extremely upset, but the truth hurts sometimes.